Hi guys. So just up along there through those trees is St. Senan's mental asylum, as it was called all those years ago. And our reason for coming today is to find a very small cemetery belonging to the hospital itself. But I thought I'd show you the original entrance in, and then I'm going to go up, find a cemetery and show you the back of St. Senan's mental asylum, or mental hospital as it is called now. So I've just pulled in up the road to give you a better view of St. Senan's mental institution, or mental asylum, but I don't like using those words. But my hope is now to find the graveyard of those poor souls that died in this hospital with no headstones, no markings, in this little small cemetery. Right guys, so we eventually found it, and you'll have to forgive the audio, it is very, very windy. But this is the burial ground for all those poor souls who died in St. Senan's Asylum, or hospital. And it was a mental hospital, but there's not a whole lot here. We have a few little white markers along the walls here. And it's believed that there's 60 plus bodies underfoot here. No names, no markers, only what we see here. And this lonely cross just over this broken wall. You can see the remains of St. Senan's Hospital. And as I said, it was a mental institution, or a mental hospital. And that's it there. But I want to just walk around the area and remember those that passed. And just here we see, sacred to the memory of all the people who were laid to rest in this graveyard many years ago. We have some statues there across, some little solar lights, and you can see the yew tree there. It's decorated with some lights as well as we walk along the walls. We see some more of those iron little crosses. Some more along there. And just to bring you down at the side of the wall, the original door to where they brought the bodies is now bricked up. But they would have walked from the hospital and buried them here. And as I said, it is extremely hard to find this little cemetery. It's not on a map. There's no signs for it, and I basically had to drive around to try and find it. So extremely sad to think of all those people. Some were left there because they wouldn't marry certain people. Some had disabilities. Some obviously had mental issues. But lots of the time, if they went into St. Senan's, they didn't come out, and they were buried here. So I remember them all. May they rest in peace. And I'll just put in a little clip. I'm going to walk through the field now to just video the back of St. Senan's asylum or mental hospital. So for now, take care, God bless, and we remember them all. The hospital, which was designed by James Bell and James Barry Farrell in the Italian style, opened as the Enniscorthy Asylum in 1868. It became Enniscorthy Mental Hospital in the 1920s and went on to become St. Senan's Hospital in the 1950s. The hospital went into a period of decline in the 1980s and closed completely in 2015. You'll marry the man we've matched you with, do you hear? Rose crouched down as he bent over her. Yes, yes, she sobbed, praying he'd leave her alone. Good. The date is set, the 6th of November before 8 o'clock Mass, so start making your plans. Rose Quinn died in an asylum less than a year after being committed by her brother for refusing to live with the man she had been forced to marry. Such was the stigma attached to having a relative in the asylum that the story remained a family secret until it was revealed 3 generations later by Rose's great-niece Patricia. The news catapulted Patricia into dedicated search to find out more about the woman she never knew existed. Shocking coincidences were uncovered and an unexpected spiritual connection in the family surfaced. This was the result in finding Rose's burial place, a plot behind the asylum now known as St. Senan's Hospital. For almost 100 years, Rose's fate had been kept secret, but her spirit never died. This is an extract from the story, Restless Spirit. Patricia wrote letters to local politicians, clergy, and the newspaper, anyone who might help her. St. Senan's then appointed a senior nurse to trawl through hospital records. He phoned Patricia with the information she had sought since 1996. Rose was admitted to the asylum on February the 16th, 1907. This was 3 months after her marriage. She died probably from TB contracted in the hospital, the same year and less than 6 months after her wedding. Rose Quinn's story is an exception. There are lots of people who were abandoned by their family and died in Wexford District Lunatic Asylum. But she has not been forgotten, and nor are those who are buried in this cemetery.